For all who comes to this goofy place, welcome.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Goofy Scoop podcast, where I have Gray with me today.
What's up? What's up?
And we are going to be talking about our arrival story for our Disney College program that happened in the fall of 2019 and what eventually led up to this Goofy Scoop podcast. So when it came to my arrival story, it was pretty new to me. There was a lot of firsts when it came to this big trip. And then it was also with a very frustrating start. I don't know how Gray's went, but mine was very frustrating because the day before I was going to hit the road, believe it or not, Gray, my car broke down when I was going to go run errands and buy some stuff for the trip.
Yikes. What happened? And it was the car you were planning on driving the whole time?
Yeah. So yeah, it is actually my truck, which I drive a Toyota Tacoma. And so I was going to head to Walmart to actually go get some snacks for the road and then actually things that I was going to put in the apartment once I actually arrived in Florida. So when I went to go turn that key, the next thing you know, nothing. Just,
dead battery.
Yeah, one of the worst sounds as an adult that you could possibly hear, especially when you are trying to go to work. So luckily I wasn't going to work. Luckily I didn't have anywhere to be. Except for the next 24 hours, I had to be on the road for Florida. So that was a huge expensive fix. And pretty much for the rest of the day, I was running around town with my head cut off like a chicken and basically was trying to find a brand new alternator and a brand new battery because I thought it was just the battery, but it was also the alternator. So it ended up costing me $900 something when I only was able to save $1,200. So I basically showed up with no money.
Great. What a great way to start when you first get to Disney World. Just have $0 and Mickey's like, hi, give me all your money. And you don't have anything to give him.
Exactly. When I showed up, I don't remember the exact cents amount, but the exact dollar amount was $44 and some odd cents in my bank account.
How did you live? We didn't get paid for like 2 weeks.
Oh, dude, I bought ramen at Walgreens down the street. But when it comes to my arrival story, the positives, that's pretty much the only negative about my arrival story or about how I got to the DCP. It was pretty cool though. Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, because that was the longest drive I've ever done by myself. Before that, it was just a 4-hour drive to go visit one of my buddies up in Wichita, Kansas. So when it went from the 4-hour drive being the longest drive I've ever had to accomplish by myself to a 21-hour drive that I had to accomplish by myself, it was exciting but also scary. And then I also had to have a U-Haul trailer behind me as well as I toted my sister's furniture all the way to Florida because she did the DCP in the spring right before us, and she ended up staying down there. So it was pretty exciting going through a couple new states that I've never been through before except by airplane, but I really don't count that because you're thousands of feet in the air. But yeah, when it came to the first day of driving, it was 15 hours just on that first day. And then I ended up staying in a hotel for the first time by myself. And then the second day was a 6-hour drive. So it was, by the time that I got there, I was so done with driving that I almost just wanted to take the Disney bus for the rest of the college program because I was like, I don't want to be in my car any longer.
I get that. I feel that.
But it was really nice arriving. Once I actually arrived on that second day, I got there pretty early afternoon, ended up checking into my hotel and then ended up going over to Disney Springs. And it was kind of getting me situated because I mean I've been to the parks before, I've been to Disney Springs before, but this time was different. When I first arrived to Disney Springs, I had that feeling of I was just anticipating a lot. I did not know what was going to happen the next 6 months of my life. My sister always was talking about how it was so fun to work there, even though she did have her bad days, but majority of the days were great. So I was really looking forward to seeing what I was going to do in my work location and how it was just going to turn out for the next 6 months of my life as I started this new journey. So I just remember walking around Disney Springs and seeing everybody going, wow, like this is, I'm usually like the guest, which at that time I still was a guest, but it was just different because I knew that I wasn't going to be a guest anymore. Like I was just going to be a cast member for the first time. And I just remember that really cool feeling of, wow, like I finally did something that I've wanted to achieve for a very long time. Because ever since about eighth grade or ninth grade is when I wanted to apply for the college program. And I actually applied 3 other times before this. I don't know if you've ever knew that, Gray. Did you ever know that?
No, you applied. So this was your 4th time applying?
Yeah. So I finally got accepted on my 4th time, which granted the first and second time the second and third time that I applied, I actually ended up withdrawing it because I changed my mind because I was in a pretty unhealthy relationship at that time and it just wasn't going to work out. So the first time, didn't hear anything back. They pretty much, well, I did hear news back, but it wasn't what I wanted to hear back.
The answer was no.
Yeah, basically Mickey was like, nope, not today, pal. But
sorry, buddy, next time.
Yep, that pretty dang close. And then I applied 4 times, and then the 4th time I finally was able to get accepted.
Wow, so I'm just so sorry because okay, that's not true. I have applied twice. I applied my freshman year of college, and then I applied right after graduation and got accepted. But the first time, it's like a good thing I didn't get accepted the first time because I was a freshman in college and I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I was like, I want to go to Disney World. Yeah,
but
totally. I did not have to apply that many times.
Yeah, lucky you. I'm glad you didn't have to because, applying 4 times because I told myself, I was like, I'm only going to apply 3 times, and if I don't get accepted, then it's not going to happen. It's not for me. It's not in the plans. And then I actually ended up having one night, I just ended up getting an email and Disney was like, you can apply if you want to for the Disney College program for fall of 2019, but do it now because you only have a certain amount of days. And I remember being up at like 2 a.m. and I just applied because I was like super down. I was tired of being in this town and I was like, I got to get out of here. And if Disney's my way out of here, then so be it. And
so I applied because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew I was graduating college and then I graduated and I was like, should I get a job? I don't know. Where do I want to work? I don't know. What do I want to do? I don't know. Let's go to Disney World.
Yeah, but the thing is too, and for everybody listening as well, the DCP is a great buffer for that though. I mean, it is a great way to kind of have that buffer of, okay, well, I don't really want to go into the real world with a career yet. I just graduated college. Granted, there's still quite a bit of us that were still in college and, took a semester off, maybe 2 semesters if you extended your program. And it gave you a nice break and kind of showed you something a little bit different in the world. But I think it was a great move, Greg, because like you said, you didn't really know what you wanted to do. And Disney is a great buffer point when it comes to the college program.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's one of those things you learn so much about yourself. Moving to Florida for me was the first time that I was fully by myself on my own. Obviously if I needed something, I could call my parents, but it's not like they were an hour down the road. In college, they were only an hour away. Whereas moving to Florida, it was you are on your own. There's no one around here who's going to take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a good and scary feeling. More so good for me personally, but I know that there was a couple of people that I worked with that you could just tell they were just man, I really wish I was home. The first month that they were there, because that was the first time they've ever done that.
Yeah,
but it was super exciting. When it came to move-in day for me, that was probably when I got the most nervous because I was pulling in to Vista Way, and I just remember sitting there looking at a bunch of other people relatively my age, mostly younger, just because I've been in school for a long time, just kind of taking my time, and I got a late start with college. So, these kids are all anywhere between 19 and 23, I would probably say. And I just turned 24 a month into the college program. So
Okay, pause. I have to ask you a question. You as 24 felt that everyone at 23 was a child?
no,
These
but just
kids
the fact
at
that
23, wow, they don't know anything.
no, and not the fact that they didn't know anything. But the biggest thing too, with like me being 24 and then everybody else being younger, I've always kind of had situations where I've had older people to look up to when it came into like doing something new. Like, oh, these are the older kids that they've been here for a while. But like with this situation, I was the older kid and I had no idea what was going on, just like
That's
the
true.
other people that were younger than me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just remember seeing people that, between the ages of 19 and 23 being there and finding my apartment, getting my Vista Way card profile picture taken and all that stuff. It was very nerve-wracking for me on the first day because I was like, wow, like this is it. Like I can back out, but I'm not going to. And I just remember it was just very scary. One of the first times in my life where being scared was a very good thing, because although that I was super scared to do it, I was also very comfortable, if that makes sense. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but I was so scared doing it.
But I think it's an excitement scared. Because fear is important to have in your life, or you're not going to ever try new things, or not going to like move outside of your comfort zone. And so I think it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you're nervous, you're scared to do it, but it's important to step out of that comfort zone and take that leap, because if you don't, then you're going to be stuck where you are forever. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And this was technically my first leap that I've ever done in my life.
Well, good for you, Jeff. Good for you. For me, I very much had a similar experience like traveling there. I didn't have as long of a drive. Mine was only 10 hours. I did it all in one day, woke up early in the morning, left about 8 a.m. And I was in Disney World at like 4 p.m. Pretty much.
Lucky you.
Yeah. It was, however, the longest drive I've ever taken by myself. I'm trying to think, like maybe 3 hours at the most was probably the longest I had driven. So 10 hours was like a lot. And I originally thought about splitting it into 2 days, because I was like, I just don't know if I can do 10 hours at one time. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Because the hotel that I found was doing a deal for cast members of Disney, and you could like get it for cheaper or whatever. And I was like, I'm just going to go there. Like, I think it'd be great. And I told them, and they gave me the deal, even though I wasn't like officially a cast member yet. So I was like really excited about that. And so
that's
I think
pretty
that
cool
was
that
great.
they did that.
Yeah. So I came in on a Saturday, I think. Moving day was on Monday. That sounds right.
Yeah, because you arrived 2 weeks after everybody else. You were one of the.
Was it 2 weeks or was it 1 week? I came in the 12th of August.
Oh, so it was just 1 week then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I arrived August 5th and you arrived August 12th. So yeah, just 1 week.
Yeah. Just a week.
Which that first week felt like an eternity.
Yeah, because you didn't have me.
Well, maybe that was it. Was that it?
That's why. Everyone I know that moved in on the 5th, they were like, dang, something's missing. And then as soon as I showed up, they were like, finally you're here.
Yeah, everybody just woke up on the 12th and was like, I feel complete.
Yeah, something's different about today.
Oh my God. But yeah, I just remember like, because I ended up staying in the hotel that when I arrived in Orlando in Lake Buena Vista, and I arrived at that hotel that I checked into before going to Disney Springs, it was like right there, right across from Vista Way. And I remember arriving and being like, I do not know where anything's at. This is so weird. I'm uncomfortable already, having the GPS out constantly. And then now it's like if we were to drive back to that area, we wouldn't need a GPS at all. So it's crazy how we tackled that big leap, like you said, like that big fear, and we're not even scared of the area now.
No, definitely. I mean, that area is home to us at this point. We know everything about it. But I do have to say something. I was so naive when I first went down there. So I got to my hotel and I was like driving around the area trying to find some good like food spots. And there was like a nice pizza place that I ate. Actually, like the first or second night I was there, I bought a whole pizza and then I ate that pizza for dinner, breakfast, and lunch the next day because I was like trying to save money. I was like, I'm gonna just buy pizza for like $15 and then like eat it the rest of the week.
Smart move.
So
Smart
yeah,
move.
yeah, it was the best thing I could think. But I saw the like big entryway to Disney World, and it wasn't like the big one, but it was like the one near Disney Springs that was just like the pieces on either side of the road. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Disney World right there. That's Disney World. I'm so close. I'm gonna work there one day. And it was really cool. But I was like, I don't want to drive in there because if I go in there, they're gonna charge me for something. Like that's just like what I felt like. And it was Disney Springs. It's like you can go for free. Like you don't have to pay for parking. You can just go and walk around. But I didn't know that. I was like, oh, as soon as I drive through there, there's gonna be a gate and I'm gonna have to pay for something. And I don't want to do that. So I was like very naive. I didn't. So like I sat in my hotel for 2 days, like alone, basically.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was awful.
So I feel like you probably stayed in the same hotel that I did. I don't remember the name of it to save my life. I really don't.
I think
I know
the
that
one
it was
I
right
stayed
by
in was like Clearwater or something, maybe. I know what it
Okay.
looks like and I know exactly where it is. Like I could drive to it right now, but I don't know what it was called.
Yeah. Because I know that the hotel that I stayed in was pretty close to Patterson, Commons, and Chatham. I mean, but I just remember going out onto Lake Buena Vista, taking a right, and then that was the way to go to Disney Springs. And then to go to Vista, I would literally have to go to the right, bang a Yui under the bridge, and then Vista would be on the right after Chick-fil-A and that gas station.
Yeah, I know I drove to Patterson like the day before because also my check-in time was at 8:30, but I was like so excited. And also I was like trying to get out of my hotel room because I was tired of being there. And I was like, I'm going to meet my fun roommates and we're going to do all this cool stuff. And so I got there like 8 a.m. My check-in was until 8:30 and they made me just sit there and wait. And that was the first time in my life that like being early was not a good thing necessarily.
Yeah.
Because
So
growing up, I've like always been taught like, oh, be early and like things will go good for you. So I was early and I was right on time and they didn't let me until like right at 8:30 and I was like, come on.
So when it came to the DCP as a whole, just beyond the arrival and everything like that, now looking back at it, how did you think it went? Like, what did you like or what did you not like about the DCP?
I've said this about pretty much every job I've ever had, but the worst part of working is going to work.
Of course.
I mean, that's, like I was talking with one of my coworkers yesterday, actually, and I was like, the worst part of coming to the office is like doing the work after lunch. Because like at lunch, I just want to hang out with my coworkers and just like spend the rest of the day doing that and like not doing work. So like that, but I think I got good things all the way around. I worked at the Boardwalk Inn in quick service food. I had great coworkers. I made great friends. And I personally definitely made the most of my time at Disney. I did every ride at least once. I was in the parks pretty much every single day I had off, and I like didn't waste my time at Disney.
Yeah, which is good. I feel like overall, all 6 of us in our little friend group, or at least from the United States, our friend group that I have, I feel like we used the DCP to our advantage. I feel like we didn't really do anything that was a waste of time or we missed out on a lot of stuff. I felt like we did a lot for what we had.
Oh yeah, and for the little bit of money that we did, we definitely like made it through a bunch of different things that like you wouldn't think we would have been able to do. So I think that was really good for sure.
Yeah. I feel like go ahead. Okay. So with the thoughts and expectations and especially like how it went and what we did like and what we didn't like, one of my biggest fears was my roommates not liking me.
Well, tell me about your walking into your apartment that first day and meeting your roommates. What were you expecting and what happened?
Okay, so when it came to Vista, I kind of had an idea of what the apartments looked like because the night that I got there, my sister kind of showed me what Vista looked like, signed me in as a guest and kind of showed me her apartment. I didn't really know that all of them were going to look so similar. And hers was a different layout just because a different building, and I don't know exactly what all the layouts look like, but hers did look different from mine. But just to give you guys some visuals as well, when it came to Vista, wood floors, outdated furniture, and everything was kind of outdated, which hence the reason why they got rid of it now. Sadly, I would love to stay in there again, but to a certain point, you got to get rid of it. But on my first day walking in there, I wasn't able to meet the 5 of my other roommates. At that time, there was only 3 there, if I remember right, which I walked in and there was Isaac, then there was Rafa, and then there was Marco. Isaac, he was from Georgia, and then Rafa was from Peru, and then Marco was from Honduras. I ended up sharing the same room with Marco, and that was super fun. At first, I was super nervous because I was like, man, I really kind of wish that I did stay with somebody from the United States because there's not a language barrier, or we don't have to, like, the odds of getting along was better if I stayed with somebody from the United States. But after Marco and I talked for a couple of days, we got along pretty well. I mean, there was a little bit of a language barrier just because I did not know Spanish to save my life. And then his English was there, but it wasn't strong. So that was kind of cool in an aspect as well, is because Marco and I taught each other. I would help him with English, especially with his like homework assignments. I would help him with his English. And then just in recreational time or free time that we had around the apartment, or just going with them to the parks, I would learn a lot of Spanish for a gringo. I learned quite a bit of Spanish.
Good for you.
But yeah, I remember walking in there and being super nervous. And I was just like, oh God, who am I going to room with? Because I didn't sign up, because you have the opportunity to sign up with somebody that be like, yes, I want to room with them. But you only have one person that you can sign up with. You can't fill up an apartment. It's only one room. And I didn't do that. I just told Disney, I was like, nope, you pick for me. So walking in there, you pretty much pick a bed that isn't dressed or it doesn't have people's stuff on there. So I was really, really, really nervous about that, but it worked out really well in the long run. I think Marco and I probably had the best room in Vista based off of all the stories that we'll be able to hear in the future on this podcast.
That's really great. So when I moved in, first of all, I was super nervous because every single time I had ever gotten a random roommate in anything, it had never turned out well. Like my freshman year of college, I had a random roommate. It wasn't good. And so I was like really nervous about what was going to happen. So walked into the apartment, had like a backpack on or whatever, like didn't have a lot of my stuff because I wanted to go in and be like, okay, what's my situation? And I was the last one there because I lived in an apartment with 4 other guys, and there was only one other guy who moved in the same day as me. Everyone else had like moved in previously. And so I first walked in, there were 2 guys standing like in the kitchen, pretty much like waiting for me to arrive, which like felt kind of creepy, but also like, oh, kind of cool. Like these guys are here to welcome me. You could tell they had just woken up, and they didn't want to be awake. I could tell. But one of them was 35 and the other one was probably like 21, 22. But neither of them were very social, which is weird for me because I'm a very social person. And I was like looking and I was like, oh, where's the best bed? And like there was one bed open for me. So that was the only bed I could take. Luckily it was a bottom bunk. But I got stuck in a room with 3 people at first sharing one bathroom. And then later I moved rooms because some people moved out and things were a little bit different. But everyone that I was with was from the United States at first. The older guy was from Ohio, I think. And then the other guy was from Georgia, I think also. And then the guy that moved in at the same day as I did, which we bonded a little bit later. I didn't meet him till like a couple of days later. But he was from New Jersey and he was my age and we became good friends throughout the program. But yeah, I just like wasn't really sure what I was getting into coming in. And it was like finding my little bit of space because there's not a lot of space. And it's like, okay, this one drawer in the dresser is yours. And that's what you get. So there wasn't a lot of space.
Basically.
You definitely bond with like the people that you live with. And really coming in, I was like, I'm going to throw all my stuff in this room and then I'm going to leave and go find friends, go make some friends. So I think the day that I moved in, or it might have been the day before because I was like in Florida. Jeff, I came over to your apartment.
I remember that. I didn't remember who you were though. Isn't that funny how that works out though?
Yeah, it definitely does. So for everyone listening, my best friend from home was also in the Disney College program. And he was how I met Jeff through all of this because they ended up being roommates. And so
yeah,
since he moved in the week before me, he let me kind of come over and like see his apartment. Like the day before, signed me in as a guest into Vista. And so I came over to your apartment, and that's how I originally met you, was through him.
Yeah, I just remember being quite busy because if that was, I don't remember exactly what was going on, but I think I might have went to the park. So I think it was a very like fast hi and bye, nice to meet you kind of thing.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I was going to the parks with either some of my coworkers that I met or either Marco, Melanie, and Leonella. But yeah, because with AJ was roomed with Isaac, and they had the nice room because they had 2 people for 1 bathroom. But our situation on the other side of the house, Marco, JC, Rafa, and I all had to share 1 bathroom. And that is not enough space for 4 grown men.
Yeah,
I'd like to say
rough.
grown men. We were slightly boys, but you know what I mean.
Some people shorter than the other, but it happens.
But yeah, that's what kind of bums me out with Flamingo Crossing as well, because they're very nice, very new, but you also have the option to buy a room and have it by yourself. Granted, it's too expensive for my taste, but that kind of takes the aspect away of the college program.
Okay. Because you brought up Flamingo Crossing, I honestly want to know how people that are doing the Disney College program will be able to afford a room by themselves. Because I was living on nothing.
Well, that's the thing is they're gonna have to have help from their parents, or they're gonna have to save up quite a bit of money before they go.
Yeah.
Because at Vista, I don't remember exactly what you were paying at Patterson, but at Vista we were paying $111 a week.
I was paying $121 a week. So
it wasn't
like a ton difference from yours, but it was more. But I will say, so I lived with less people in my apartment, but I also think my apartment standards wise was nicer. The community building wasn't like as great, but like I had a balcony and our living room was like a little bit more like open with our kitchen and everything. And so I think it was also just like a newer building. Because I think Vista Way was the first college program like apartment complex that was ever built. And so you got like the original stuff and I was in a little bit newer of an area. But it wasn't like that much crazier expensive, but I was also paying $121 a week living in a bedroom with 2 other guys and then 2 more people in an apartment. So like it was 5 people paying $120 a week times 4. Like it's just a lot.
It's way too much for the apartment that we got. Yeah. That is the one downside about Disney housing is it's too expensive. And I'm not saying, hey, pay us a bunch of money because we're interns. I get it. We're interns. You don't even have to technically pay us.
Right.
But when it comes to if you're going to pay us and you're going to put us in housing, it was just a little too expensive. I remember money being tight. So, I mean, for the people listening, if you guys are interested in the Disney College program once COVID goes away and they actually restart it and have it up and running again, just put that into perspective and have that in mind where you're going to have to save money or have your parents help you, or I mean, basically just realize that it's going to be expensive when it comes to Disney housing. And if you want to be able to buy souvenirs or spend money every time you go to the park, you're going to have a very thick wallet.
Oh, very, very true. But I also just definitely think it's one of those things. It's an experiment. It's an experience. I wouldn't live outside of the complex, at least at first. How am I supposed to meet people if I do that?
Exactly. Well, and it was to the point as well where that in that time of my life, and when it comes to how it went and what I liked and what I didn't like, at first I hated how broke I was. I hated being that broke. But then now after after our DCP story and how after everything happened, and now that I look back at it, that was the most broke I have ever been in my whole life. But that was the most happiest I've ever been in my life, easily.
Well, but I think it's because like obviously you need money to live, but while we were at Disney, we number one took in the experience because it was like we're at Disney, but also like because we didn't have a lot, we focused on each other and the things that we could do and the things that we did have. Because like yes, we didn't have a lot, but at the same time we had the chance to like do Disney whenever we wanted to. It was free for us as cast members. Hey, you want to go ride Space Mountain today? Nah, I'm tired of it. Okay, cool, we'll do it tomorrow. Like having that kind of capability is crazy to me thinking back. Like who the heck is able to wake up one morning and be like, I think I'm going to go ride Space Mountain. Cool.
For free.
Yeah, for free.
Automatically saved $160 something
every time you went to the park.
Yeah, just to go ride one ride.
Yeah.
I just want to go ride. Because I remember there was one day where I got off of work and I was like, man, I really feel like riding the Haunted Mansion. So I remember taking extra clothes. I had extra clothes in my car. Luckily enough, that saved me some gas. I went straight to Magic Kingdom, made sure nobody was around, changed in my car, walked in, used my main gate, rode Haunted Mansion, walked right back out of the park, and went home.
Right. Well, and it was one of those things too that's like, you could walk in and be like, the line's too long today. I'll do it tomorrow. Or like,
yeah,
like I'm not worried about waiting in a long line because I'll get a chance later when there's a shorter line.
Exactly.
I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah. And, when it comes to the negative aspects, like what I was saying earlier about it being too expensive to live in housing, like we just said, there are definitely positives. Getting into the parks for free, they don't have to do that either. And that was great. That was free entertainment. And on your days off, you could just go to the parks for free.
Could you imagine if we couldn't go to the parks, what our lives would have been like? If we couldn't go to the parks for free, we would have done Disney Springs as much as we possibly could. And then we would have sat on our butts and stared at the wall.
Oh, well, even for the people that didn't bring their own car or, from international, weren't even able to bring their own car at all. Like no option, no choice. With them having to ride the buses back and forth to Walmart and get their groceries or even ride the buses to the parks, that was also kind of a bummer for them as well because we had cars.
That's true.
And
we did both have cars.
Actually, yeah. So that was very nice. But when it came to the buses, I feel like the buses could also run a little bit more frequent, or maybe they could have buses for people that are going to work and then buses for the people that are going to the parks for fun.
Oh, definitely. Like the ones of people going to work should run more frequently because I know people, you had to get on the bus 2 hours before you had to be at work, even though it only took it was like a 10-minute drive, but because of the bus loop, it took you 2 hours to get to work and then you were barely on time.
Yep. So when it came to the bus loop, especially for Vista, it depended on where you stayed out of the 4 complexes. But for Vista, if I had to be at work at 5 and the bus would pick us up at 4:30, let's just random times, it was like a 20-minute drive to Hollywood Studios and I was the last stop. So right after Vista, we're going to Studios. But you got to think, if I'm the last stop before we go to the park, that means I'm the last stop when we leave the park. So it would be a 20-minute drive to work. But when I did have to ride the bus home, it'd be like an hour and a half before I even saw my apartment again.
Yeah. My roommate, a lot of times, he didn't have a car, but a lot of times he would Uber to work. Or I would take him to work. Because it was just the buses just took so long, and you never some of those buses broke down. You never know when that was going to happen.
Yeah, I guess basically what we're trying to say with talking about all of this when this all first kind of came to light, when we arrived and saw everything for the first time, and it was kind of had that new feeling I would probably say that new feeling for probably about 2 or 3 weeks after we arrived.
I think it was just an exciting time trying to figure everything out.
It was exciting, very new, and a lot of changes. So
very true.
Yeah, with us talking about all of this, it's not to talk down on the college program by any means. There's negatives with everything that we do in life if you love it, but
I think there's
Yeah,
just some life hacks we're trying to give you. If you ever do the college program, take your car.
Yeah, which there, if you're able to. If you're international, it sucks. I'm sorry. The buses can improve, but yeah, if you have the capability of driving your car to the DCP, please take it. Just take it.
Yeah,
But,
it's there's I mean that it will give you a better experience. You'll be able to go out more and spend more time with your friends, and you'll make a lot of friends because a lot of people don't have cars, and so you'll make a lot of friends because you'll be able to drive them places.
Yeah, you feel like you're being used at first, but trust me, you're doing so many people a favor that you're making friends out of just being a nice person.
They will love you forever.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I basically where we're getting at is when it comes to the arrival or our arrival story, if you want to say, there was a lot of changes and it was for the best. No matter how scared you were, the Disney College Program is definitely something to sign up for. Whether you're still in college like I was and still am at the time, or like Gray, where he used it as a buffer period in his life where he didn't really want to know, or he didn't know what he wanted to do as a career yet, or he didn't want to get started with real life yet, and he just graduated college. So
yeah. I definitely think, Jeff, it's a journey, and us arriving was the beginning of it. And it's going to be fun because throughout this podcast, we're going to not only talk Disney parks and Disney, just like exciting things, but also our stories of the time while we were there, and really taking everyone who listens to this on our journey throughout our college program of working at Disney.
Yeah, which hopefully it's entertaining for the people. I know it's definitely fun to get with everyone again every once in a while because we still FaceTime our friends and talk with them. We say it's going to be real quick, 30 minutes to an hour tops. Next thing you know, it's 4 a.m. and we've been talking to each other on FaceTime for 8-9 hours.
Oops.
Yeah, which I don't regret it at all. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was a great time. Every time I think about it, I never frown. I only smile. Basically.
Well, I think that's just here to say, keep listening because there's a lot coming.
So much. But, even with like AJ, the roommate that I had that we brought up earlier, he'll be on here. He'll be able to talk about his work location. There's other people that are going to be on this podcast. They'll be able to talk about their work location. And then any stories that we have to share with these people, like you said, Gray, long story short, you said it perfectly. There's a lot more to come. But with that being said, I think that is where we are going to close out for the day, guys. You guys definitely stay tuned. And for the second episode, it looks like we're going to be talking about resorts and where you should stay, what you are going to look for, what you do like, what you don't like, what is the best option for you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And then we also do have our top 3 for the value, moderate, and deluxe resorts that we would choose if we were able to stay there as well. So you guys stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we shall see you guys again real soon.